how much this system has done for you is so incredibly cost effective. You need this now. This is going to change your business. It's changing the way that you're machining, and so it's become a really integral part to your company. So really you're basically saying you pay more for it because it's surprised you so much and done so much for your company.
Welcome to the MTD podcast. I'm Gio and Lyndsey, hosting today's show, a proud member of the MTD team. Today we have the pleasure to be back at the Wath Group in Rotherham, and I'm joined by three special guests. Firstly, Will Bedford.
Hello.
How you doing? All right?
I'm good. Been grilled today, which has always been good fun.
Well, you can tell us all about it in the MTD podcast. Great to be back, and thanks very much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
Secondly, Mathew Jenness from Microloc.
Hello, Gio.
How you doing, buddy? All right?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Very good.
You're looking a bit tired today.
Yeah, I feel it now. That's a day with you, I'm afraid.
And last but not least, Lyndsey Vickers.
Hello. Yeah. How you doing, Gio?
I'm very well, thanks. It's been a good day, hasn't it?
It has. We've just finished our lunch and it is 3:00 in the afternoon, which is generally a normal working day for MTD. But yeah, good. And of course, Will, you've been grilled because I've been interviewing you today. So.
The task. No. Always a pleasure.
Will, I'm very mindful that I always pronounce the company name incorrectly. Was it correct?
Wath Group. So think Bath and Bath, but Wath. Or if you're from down south, you say Wath.
So was I correct or incorrect?
I can never tell, to be fair.
But great day, absolutely great day. We've been reviewing the Microloc work holding solutions, not on one machine, but on several machines now. They're on all of your milling machines. Mm-hmm. Your company has grown ridiculously over the last few years. So firstly, before we start, people may have not watched the last videos that we did or listened to the previous podcasts. Can you firstly just give our listeners a little bit of an overview of your company?
Okay, so we are a family-run third-generation business. We are specialist design and subcontract manufacturers. Now, jumping forward to the last two and a bit years, we didn't do any machining prior to that. We brought it all in-house after prototyping our own products. So in the last 10 years, we started producing our own products and bringing them to market through our own companies and sister companies. But what we found was 2.5 years ago that when we were trying to adapt and to get those first parts machined and prototyped, we were always at the back of the queue. Obviously, with the big boom of aerospace, that there wasn't that capacity in other people's shops to accommodate new products. But so what happened was we took a plunge and we got off our first little Haas Mini Mill 2 that literally lasted like 3 weeks. We swapped it, we sent it back and went straight to a full 5-axis UMC 500, and that was my workhorse for 2 years.
But what was the reason why because you changed it after 3 weeks? It's not because of it being poor, it's because you were pushing it to its absolute limits.
Yeah, there was a little running joke. We got it moving around the workshop just because I have no previous experience with CNC machining. I didn't know what the limitations were, what the rules were. So coming from a complete blank perspective, we just ran the tool data at its maximum. We did everything we could, and if it didn't quite work, we tweaked it to make it work. So we were teching 20mm and 60mm diameter carbide on this little Haas mini mill and full stainless.
Can I just explain to the audience Matt's face right now? It's like,
yeah, which apparently you're not meant to do. But we got it to work, and we were pocketing, like our first products, pocketing the stainless, so literally 90% of our work is stainless steel 316. Beautiful material, just isn't as flexible as you might say some like the mild steels which you see so many people working with. But yeah, full slots, trochoidal pathing, just removing as much material as possible. But what we found was it wasn't as powerful as we needed it to be, but also the fact that obviously with the trying to hit multiple sides, trying to get things out one and done effectively, 2 ops max is what we were trying to do. So which is why we swapped to the 500. So I did a deal with Haas, upgraded from the mini mill to the 500, and literally that's what I learnt on for the best part of 18 months of my machining journey. We had a work holding issue, which we were trying to hold the parts in a secure way, obviously with stainless, trying to hit the machine as hard as possible. With the work holding, which I had at the time, was quite new. So I didn't really know how to approach it, and that's where we got in contact with Matt. Now Matt introduced us to his system, the Microloc work holding system, and it meant that we could hold the parts on very small bits of material, which obviously seems a bit dubious at times, but stainless steel, big heavy cuts, 2 to 3 mil is what I'm holding on, because obviously the more you're holding on, the more money you're wasting, because that's effectively going in the bin.
Yeah. That's your waste material.
What problems were you presented with then, Matt?
Well, like you say, Will was completely new to machining, so he'd got no bad habits as well. So in a way, it was a good thing, you know. So he hadn't got his rusty old vice stuck in the middle of this brand new machine that we see so often these days. So he was, you know, wanted to use the most modern techniques there was available. So we actually met through a mutual friend of our, the Haas salesman, Andy Clark. He introduced me to Will, and I came up here and demonstrated what we could do, and he liked the flexibility of the system and the versatility, and also, like you say, being able to clamp on smaller amounts of material, so his waste material is less.
I mean, and again, the progression from a mini mill to a fifth axis simultaneous is quite significant.
You all keep telling me this, and it doesn't make sense to me, and I am really sorry if I sound naive, but it's not complicated. And I know the reason why I'm saying it's not complicated is...
It's not with the right software.
It's not. So, for example, especially with our design software, so we do a lot of product design, electronics design. So we've always worked with the Autodesk suite of software. We also hold a seat of Hypermill, which is a nice bit of software when you need it. But our day-to-day tasks we use Fusion. Now, Haas, Autodesk, there's always been a partnership with them, so the post-processors are there. So it's just a case of throw the program together, put the tools on there. A lot of the time it becomes, like I say, some people will laugh when they hear this, but drag and drop. You can do a lot of copy and pasting and set up systems. Obviously, you've got to be careful and you dial it in, make sure there's no collisions, simulate it, put it on the machine, check it in graphics. But it's not complicated. Everyone, when you first run that first off, you should be, single block delete, just making sure that the machine's not doing anything silly, so you keep your rapids down. But once you've run it once, full speed, I tell...
You like to take some real leaps, don't you? I like it. Full speed, yeah, we'll do it.
But if
says something.
if you run it once and it's fine, it should keep being fine. But the thing is, we program tool breakage detection into the software. We do tool load, so in the machines we'll set a tool loading, so when it runs through the first time we'll put maybe a 10% measurement on the tool loading, so therefore it will alarm out if something gets out of hand, it will alarm out if the vibration gets... So we put a lot of faith into the machines. It's like with the work holding, because it's tried and tested, the faith is in that system. So again, for me, the whole journey was learning from other people, learning from, I don't want to say their mistakes, but their hard lessons. I didn't have to go through that pain. So again, it's like I pull everybody and pull in all the different tool companies. Literally, I think there's only 1 or 2 well-known brands that haven't been in this shop. Again, I'm open to testing. It's like we've worked with different people. You've got a new tool, I'll try it just to learn and to pull that knowledge out of people. With the work holding, we're trying different things, and Microloc has worked perfectly. It's like with the soft jaws, like on the 5-axis. We had a part about a week ago, and we quickly turned it. So sketched it on a piece of paper, we want this, quickly spun it on the lathe, quickly machined a soft jaw with the Microloc, banged it in the middle of the pallet on the 5-axis, and just within, it must have been just under 2 hours from that initial sketch to grabbing a piece of brass, throwing it in the lathe, Fusion carried it up, post-process checked it, and just quickly from one machine to the other until I had it in my hand. It's not complicated. Yes, there are many things that we can skate over, which maybe apprentice-trained people, and those skill sets I'm still trying to learn off other people pulling that knowledge. But from a operation point of the machines, it's been a fun journey.
Well, you make it sound very easy, Will, definitely. Now, you've obviously learnt your trade on a full fifth axis simultaneous machine, but then you've gone and purchased an EC 400 6-pallet horizontal.
Yes.
And again, why did you purchase this? And again, why did you choose Microloc for this machine? And can you explain now that you've actually learnt your trade now, the importance in work holding when looking to achieve them metal removal rates?
So, like I say, on the EC, one thing I would say is, I wouldn't say I've learnt my trade. I am always learning off as many people as possible. If I can pull them and take their knowledge, I will do it. I will sit down and have a conversation with anybody, just because there's always something new, something else to pick up. But with the EC400, so with the fact that we proved the rigidity with the 500, which then became the 1000, with the EC400 we had the exact same mentality. We needed something strong and rigid. We had to create the lightest possible solution with the cube, because we actually took a bit of meat out of the cubes.
We had to take a bit off in the end, didn't we? Because it was too heavy.
Yeah, one of the precursors with the EC400 is the fact that the robot arm has a lower carrying capacity than the actual hydraulic system, which switches the two pallets. So bear in mind, we're trying to we fill our pallets with stainless. We have to make sure that we don't go over the weight carrying capacity of the robot arm. So once it's in the machine, it will swing it back and forth between those two stations. But there is a limit on the arm, which meant that if we went full tilt and loaded up to the eyeballs, we potentially could break, or a pallet could fall off. So again, working with Matt was brilliant.
We took the cubes back.
That's why Matt looks tired.
Yeah, that's why. We took the cubes back and we took a bit of fat out of them, didn't we? About 50 kilos, I think we managed to shift out of it.
That's a lot.
This is a really big point as well, isn't it? That you're not just buying standard work holding solutions from Matt. You're buying bespoke work holding solutions that are fit for your application.
Yeah.
And Matt, again, you've helped or been with Will on this work holding journey from the start.
Yeah.
And then kind of coming to kind of put the columns onto the horizontal.
That's right.
What kind of
he still needs 3 more, by the way.
Still 3 more to
3 or 4 more.
But I mean, he's presenting so many components.
I know,
to a
it's
spindle
too efficient. He doesn't
column.
need them, I know.
And that's the thing, if you can explain that. I mean, how many components are you presenting a spindle with one column at the minute?
So, bear in mind the EC400 was bought for our EX parts. So we need to get as many parts out as possible because our capacity was limited by the fact that we didn't have continuous running. Hence the EC400 purchase. Now, we are getting realistically 8 parts. So 2 per face. But bear in mind, this is a billet of stainless, which is, just for visualise it in your head, but 60 mil by 40 by 270 millimeters. Solid block of stainless, which we remove 90% of the mass out of it. Don't get me wrong, I'd always want to put more on, but we found that if we overloaded it, you can sometimes do more. You might get more on the runtime, but you sometimes might get a bit of vibration, just because obviously depending if you're roughing out from the top to the bottom or vice versa. So the happy medium for us was 8 parts at a time. But that's still, for us, 16, so with the 2 pallets, that's 16 hours worth of runtime. The average part is on that machine is anything from an hour to 2.5 hours. So the machine became that efficient. We were just running a 2 pallet system in between jobs. So even I could rip one pallet down and set it back up in an hour, and the other pallet was going. So I'd run it overnight, come in the morning, that was just finishing up, the next pallet loaded, and just continuous going. It's been that efficient for us that I actually am probably on that machine a month ahead. Don't get me wrong, on other departments I could always do with more machines, but for that stainless work it's been a godsend.
I think a really good big compliment, and we've obviously been doing some videos today, is the fact that you said, quite honestly, yeah, it's so cost effective. And I know there's like a bit of a running joke, you should put your prices up and that, and it's not really about that. You've got your price for your product, but I think the thing that you're saying there ultimately is how much this system has done for you is so incredibly cost effective. You need this now. This is going to change your business. It's changing the way that you're machining, and so it's become a really integral part to your company. So really, you're basically saying you pay more for it because it's surprised you so much and done so much for your company. Yeah, it's not about the money. That's not what we're saying. But the compliment is there.
It's a fair comment though. Obviously, as somebody who has no pre-notion of what something should cost, obviously, because of that, the mentality is we went around and looked at multiple systems. I spend as much time as I do researching and look at the new
watching MTD videos.
Yeah, again, everything I can possibly look at, the content I will try and absorb.
Yeah.
because of that, I had to look at all systems, and I had to make the most fair, valid evaluation of what was right for me. And this was right for me, and it worked. Now, there are other systems on the market and which look like very enticing, but this is what fit the company.
Your company.
This is what fit the company. And the support and the fact that I've been looked after, I know he's stood right next to me, but I'll always be honest with it. If something's wrong, I'll say something's wrong. But in this circumstance, it's worked.
Yeah.
I've got no faults. Cost effectiveness for me is about what do I get back out of it and what's my return. Now, we can all spend money, but we need to make sure we look after our cash. And that's the thing, is it worked, the balance, the return per part and how much I costed that into my parts made sense.
The support.
And the support. So, for example, because it's all modular, if I need to get a few more vices, Matt stocks them, so I can get them here 9 or 10 times next day.
Yeah.
If I need some soft jaws, it's a fair price. So it entices me to buy from that instead of make my own. It's that balance. It's that level of support against what's worth it to me. Is, like I say, any business owners or any people who actually have purchasing power, I would recommend to actually look at the Microloc system, because there is a balance to it. And it's also
There's an advert right there.
Yeah,
there's an advert.
There's a bit.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
But it's the balance. I've got 3 different machines, a horizontal, a 5-axis, and obviously the 3-axis VF. We were making the joke, I'd fit it to my lathes if I could, but it'd be a bit dangerous. But
You try.
I try.
Yeah.
But if one of my spindles goes down, okay, I might have to add a few more ops in to get the part complete. But it's a lot of copy and paste. So any of my operatives can set up any machine with the knowledge that it's going to behave in the same way. So when you put these procedures down, you create standard operating procedures.
So effectively, is it adding value to your machine tools?
Yes.
And has it created a stable process?
It's created a stable process, and I almost feel like it's as much part of the workshop as it is part of the machines are. The joke is before when I was ordering the VF4, I rung Matt and said, all right, how quickly can I have this bed? Which I think is probably why there's a few more grey hairs on Matt right
probably.
now. But
I had to loan you one, didn't I?
yeah.
What, a grey hair or
I'm trying to remove mine already. But yeah, we had to quickly get something on there. It just works. And I'm not one for singing praises when I shouldn't do. And for me, take out the advertising and stuff like that. For me, the system worked for me. And because of that, I'm happy to sing about it. If I had a fault with it, I'd be quite happy to tell you the fault as much as Matt, close your ears. But in this situation, I have no complaints. No.
It's great today. We've seen Microloc on a 3-axis machine, a horizontal, and a 3-axis.
Yeah, it's really good
so
for
we've
me.
seen them on all 3 different kind of configurations of machines.
Yeah.
And are they achieving the same goals, Matt, on all 3, like reducing setup times, presenting more components to the spindle, all of the kind of features that Microloc are renowned for?
Are you happy? That's
yeah, very happy with it. Yeah. I mean, when I first came in, we were looking at a 5-axis base plate, and I didn't know then, where it was going to go in the future, obviously. But, working in partnership with William, we work well together, and we came up with solutions, even helped me design the cube in the end to reduce the weight, because we had this issue with the weight and it being too heavy when we first delivered it. We had to take some weight out, and you actually drew it up.
I don't think you believed that I could take that much weight out of it, did you?
No. And
weight's been a common theme of the discussion today. You've been talking about all of your weights and what you're eating, talking about losing weight.
Christmas has not been kind.
No, nor me.
If Paul Jones was here, I'm sure we'd get a joke about Joe Reynolds.
Yeah, we would. Yeah, absolutely. But it's a partnership. I think ultimately what you're just saying there, and you've said that word I don't know how many times today in the videos, is a partnership, and you're providing a product to Wath Group. Sorry. But then you're getting benefits back, and it's a partnership that's only going to go in one direction, and that's great.
One thing which I realised we haven't said as well is, obviously when you think Microloc, you think of the grid system, but what Matt's also provided to us, which has now gone on the 1000, is it's a new 0-point system which they've produced. Well, they're selling it through
That's right. Yeah, it's the Vischer and Bolly dock lock system. Yeah,
but it's like an airline system. So all I've done is took a tap off the back of our machine, but it's literally you can change a plate in seconds as long as it's not too heavy. It's a sturdy kit. So we've got a plate, which a Microloc plate, but then we'll also pull that off and on for like our aluminium jigs. But yeah, that complements it as well. I just want to make sure we don't skate over that, because
that's a very good product for us. Actually, we sell a lot of that. That's what's in the Mercedes Formula One. It's on every single machine that they have. So they've got our dock lock system on it. But you've got the new airline system we've put on your UMC 1000, and it's only came out middle of last year, and yeah, the way they've been able to keep the power. So there's 12.5 newtons per cylinder on that airline. 12,500 newtons per cylinder retention force. It's very powerful.
It's like it's like a twin clamp. So very quickly you can clip onto the unclamp, which then obviously fully releases it. You could pull it off and on. But as soon as you take off the unclamp, it does like a first lock, and then you click your arrow onto the clamp mechanism that gives like a second lockdown. And the thing is, obviously Matt tells me, it's repeatable. I've got to check for myself. So once Matt had sat with me, fitted it, I just ran the probe a few times and pulling it off, putting it back on, pulling it off, pulling it on. And it was only floating around probably 1 or 2 microns literally on our probe system, which, let's be honest, a good draft, and most people will change it. So it is repeatable. Obviously, come back in a few years' time, we'll see how it's weared. But right now, the plate probably get changed 3 or 4 times a day. If we're doing what I call a batch work, or if I'm doing some odd jigs where it's a single product mounted on a jig, that'll be swapped 20 times back and forth. These are big, heavy valve parts. So
effectively, you could be saving 4 or 5 hours setup time a day with this 0-point system.
Yeah,
4 or 5 hours a day.
I'd say more. If I'm being, I'd say more. If I compared to the 500, what I can do now with this machine, with the 0-point, it makes sense. If you're buying a 5-axis, buy a 0-point.
So if you were charging, just for an example, £100 an hour on that machine, you're saving potentially.
That's way too expensive, but okay.
We wish we could charge that.
I mean, it's a lot of money, a lot of setup time savings there, where your spindle is now running, and
because you're setting it up while it's running, you're setting up offline, yeah.
I mean, for the listeners as well, there's videos coming out soon that Lyndsey mentioned, that you can actually visualise this system, and also you can contact Microloc directly to find out more. And Matt, how is it integrated into your Microloc system?
Well, originally we made the Microloc base to fit directly onto the 5-axis machine. So when Will swapped over to the UMC 1000, we took the base back up from him and we machined it so to have the plugs, the pull studs in the bottom of the Microloc plate. So then it will obviously just come in, load on and load off very quickly. So we did all that for him.
And this solution is readily available to anyone that wants it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's also used a lot of people if you've got a lot of fixtures, lots of different fixtures that you're changing a lot of the times. You can modify your existing fixtures with these pull studs, and then put a 0-point system on, and you can be changing these over in seconds.
Can it be automated with the use of a robot?
You can do that, but then you're into the hydraulic system with the automated cylinders and stuff.
Solutions
but yes,
for that as well.
we do have solutions for that.
I reckon I could make it work with that air system.
I love this. This is a partnership. How?
You could.
He's going to put a patent on this now.
It's obviously with the robot systems. It's a quick release air system. So as long as you've got some sort of mating, so you could get it so the robot puts the actual connector on first and then releases it.
Well, you'd have all 3 connected at the same time. Probably with an M code, you could probably get it going.
Take it through the centre of the spindle.
Yeah.
I love just before we actually started this podcast, Gio, you were complimenting Matt and just saying about his system and saying, well, actually, I think the Microloc work holding system is way ahead of its time. So obviously, you've got a strong backing behind this product too.
I think, when you look at the Microloc system, your father invented it, didn't he, Matt?
Yeah.
And he invented it to make his own work for his subcontract company.
That's right, yeah.
And the design has not changed over the years, but it's still more up to date than a lot of work holding systems that are out there. And there's some products that you've got in your portfolio that are potentially still ahead of the game because they really lend themselves to automation. So I think that what a fantastic design! It's brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
So we use the.
That's the end of the podcast.
No, I was saying we use there's like 4 different variants on the sizes.
Yeah.
We traditionally use the 50mm variant.
The smallest one, yeah.
But it allows us to use when we need to go full hog, we can get the 100 vices, which is double the capacity. I think you also do a 60 and a 75.
Well, yeah, we do 50, 60, 75 and 100. But the 50 series is, I guess, one you can fit sort of 3 series of vices on. So certainly for your sort of work, it was better suited. Especially on the first 5 axes you had, that was quite a small table, so you wouldn't want big vices on that, would you? So.
Any new products in the pipeline, Matt?
We've got a few we're working on. Obviously, we're agents for the PAL air chucks as well. They're quite a good seller for us, but also we've got in development at the moment a new pneumatic self-centering vice, which I still hope to have at Mac, but I'm not sure it's going to be ready, but we will see.
We need a Microloc pyramid for the 5 axis. That's what we need.
Oh, we can make one of them for you.
You need to also do a Mac Live as well to get the product out if you've got it.
100%. Are you visiting Mac?
I'll be visiting Mac. I would love to live there, but unfortunately work will probably not allow me to be there all the time. But
don't worry about it. Watch the Mac Live.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I'll be living there for the week. I'm
So will we.
And Matt, just to summarise really, brilliant company, going from strength to strength. The investment that's happened just in the last few years is just phenomenal. What's next?
I'd love to say more machines. For me, we need to take stock of where we're at. If I'm being true to myself, we need to improve our processes. Always strive to be better with what we have, but I'm not saying no to maybe another machine this year. We made the joke that we obviously invested in 2 new machines just before Christmas, and then we just took another lathe. We could probably take another lathe quite easily, but it's understanding what's next. What is the part we need to tackle? Where are our efficiency savings and where's the money to be best spent? Don't get me wrong, I hope in 10 years the entire place is full of machines. But we're not just a machining company. We cover multiple different sectors. Everything from hose, hydraulics, electrical cable systems. We are a full turnkey company. This is the machining complements our entire business model. So I want to see everything grow.
I know you mentioned that you're still learning your trade. It seems to me anyway that you've learned it quite well already. But
it's just us. We're still learning ours as we go along.
You never stop learning in engineering. No. But I mean, blimey, some of the stuff that you've been coming out with is impressive. Just one final question from me, really. In regards to work holding, the theme of this podcast is around work holding. What importance would you give work holding to the complete solution now in the short period of time that you've been machining?
Work holding is as important as the machine tool. It's as important as the actual tool you pick. If you do not have the correct synergy, think of it like a triangle. If you don't have the machine, the work holding and the cutting tool in perfect balance, what's the point? If you're cutting with the best tool but you're holding with subpar equipment, you might as not be spending the money on the tools because it's going to move. It might not be quite square. What's the point? Same as if you're using the best work holding solution and your tools aren't up to spec, then you shouldn't be doing it. If you're not using the correct tool holders, it is a complete packaging. You could go 33
performance, isn't it?
33% out of the is work holding. Same as the machine, same as the tooling. And if you scrimp and you don't do it properly, you might as well not do it at all.
Well, I think that really sums it up quite
Brilliant.
nicely.
I think Matt's there going, couldn't have said it better than myself.
I said it better than myself. A wise man once said to me, it's like having a Formula One car, and if you want the full top performance, every part that goes on it has to be top performance as well. And you wouldn't put rubbish old tyres on a Formula One car. You put the best tyres on the Formula One car. So I think that was my father said that to me years ago.
It's a good analogy, really. I think that, to get the most out of your machine tool, you need
to get the best performance, you need the correct everything.
It's
tools, work holding.
Yeah,
the finished article.
For me, it's about balance. If you are heavily swung in one of those departments, there's nothing wrong, and again, this is to other shops, there's nothing wrong with having even maybe the different machine tools or different, but it's just making sure you have that balance of what's right for you. And the Microloc, the Haas machines and other the carbide manufacturers they work with, the synergy has just been perfect.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for another fantastic podcast, Matt.
Go get some sleep.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Lyndsey, always a pleasure. And for our listeners, if you're looking to reduce setup times, if you're looking to present more components to the spindle, I'd definitely consider Microloc, so give them a call. Until next week, the MTD podcast.
Thanks for listening to the MTD podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on mtdcnc.com.